What's up, everybody? It's Dan, and I'm back for another edition of Drumming Without Drums. Now, I know I took a little hiatus, but I've been getting some really nice feedback, so I'm ready to get back into this thing, so thank you for staying tuned. Now, what I want to do right now is teach you how to play another type of beat. We already learned, as a little recap, we learned a 16th note groove, right? Where we keep our right hand on the hi-hat over here, which is our book for the time being. We cross it over to the left, and we play 16th notes. And remember, you always have to count out loud, and you count 16th notes, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So let's just review. Let's play that little 16th note groove with our right hand playing all the 16th notes on the hi-hat. Ready? 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and that's counting 8 notes now. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. So that's what we already learned. Now what I want to talk to you about today is an alternating 16th note groove. So as you saw right there, I just played 16th notes with one hand. Now we're going to play 16th notes alternating strokes, so right, left, all right? So it's going to be the same groove pretty much, except we're going to put both hands up on the hi-hat, and we're going to play 16th notes using both hands. So it'll be like this: 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so I was counting 8 notes right there. Now let's count 16th notes. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. Alright, so that's pretty much the same thing, but when you play alternating strokes on the hi-hat, it just gives the groove a different feel, and it also allows you to play a lot faster. So if you can imagine, it's only so fast that we can go playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's a lot of work for your right hand, okay? So sometimes that's called for. You want to play like a cool little fast groove with your right hand, but it's a lot easier to play those 16 notes at that speed or even faster using alternating strokes. So just check it out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Or even faster. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So see how that works? It gives the beat a different feel, and it also increases your coordination, because when you start lining up the bass drum on different 16th notes, you're not only lining the bass drum up with your right hand, you're also now going to be lining up your bass drum with your left hand, right? Because if you slow it down, you realize that your left hand is playing all the E's and U's, right? So it's 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. So if we start to mix up the bass drum, which you should be doing with all these types of grooves, right, where I'm just talking about different hand patterns, experiment with putting your bass drum or your right foot on different notes. In this case, we're playing 16th notes. So experiment with putting your bass drum on different 16th notes. So we're going to do that now. I'll play a couple variations, but feel free, you have 16 16th notes to choose from. So you can put your bass drum on, any combination of those notes. So here, let's just stick to the basic rock beat, and then I'll give you a couple more variations to practice. Alright? So the basic rock beat, again, is just our right foot on 1 and 3, but let's just change it up a little bit. So let's play the bass drum on 1 and then 3 and. So it's like this: 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. Now count 8 notes. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Here's a little tip too. Keep your left hand up. Try not to let it, slack and get all low, because then it's not going to have the same effect as a 16th note groove if you start playing this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See how my left hand is dragging? It's really low. Try to keep it up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So again, always count out loud. count your different subdivisions so you really get comfortable with this type of beat, and then you can start getting into some more complicated combinations, being, moving your bass drum around. So right now, let's do a pretty common bass drum pattern in pop music these days. We're going to play the bass drum on 1, and then on the of 2 and the and of 3. So it's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So practice that for a while, then practice that with just your alternating hands on the hi-hat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. When you get comfortable with that, put your right hand down on the snare drum on beats 2 and 4. Because that's what we're doing now. I guess I didn't mention this earlier, but you should see that we're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See, we're dropping the right hand as opposed to what we were doing before, which is keeping the left hand under the right hand. Okay? So let's play that beat. Again, I'll keep it real slow. 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E. Now count 8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. See how that works? Really make sure that you start slow enough so that you're lining up your foot exactly with each note. So it doesn't sound like, you want to get it right together. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You could even take it slower than that. I can't stress enough, you got to start everything slow to make sure it lines up right. And then you have that solid foundation with which to progress and go faster. Alright? So again, don't be afraid to put your bass drum on different 16th notes. Use your bass drum on 2 successive 16th notes even. So this is just one idea. I'm going to play it on 1 and then the of 2 and then the E and of 3. So it sounds like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. And then obviously I'm getting out of breath, but count your 16th notes. Then when you get comfortable with that, then you just count 8th notes. Alright? So glad to be back. Hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I'll be posting a second one real soon. Thanks.